We're about a week out from the opening of training camps, and two big names are looking for some clarity on their situation. Last week, John Wall and the Rockets agreed to seek a trade partner for him, while Ben Simmons has wanted out of Philly all summer. So, Mark, let's start with you. Who do you think gets dealt first between these two?
I would think conventional wisdom would say John Wall, because he and the Rockets are on the same page and they're, kumbaya and working this thing out. But with John Wall's money, I just don't know how many suitors are really ready to jump in the pool and make that big plunge. So it's complicated as Ben Simmons' situation is, and an extremely complicated. The only thing they agree on is that there probably needs to be a divorce. I still think it's there's many more suitors for Ben Simmons, whether Daryl Morey is listening or not. And the John Wall thing is it's very complicated with that money and his age.
And, Mark, you say divorce. I say fresh starts. I mean, there's a different framing here. Tim, what do you think?
Nah, that's a divorce.
I think I think Spears is right on the money here. You look at this John Wall contract we got on the screen now, $91 million over the next 2 years. You look at Kemba Walker, a guy who was an easier guy to trade, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who never buy out guys, bought out Kemba Walker's contract, allowed him to go to the New York Knicks. Why do you think they didn't try to rehab his value and move him on? That was because it was going to be very difficult to move that Kemba Walker contract. And John Wall's contract is another $20 million more than Kemba. So you combine the fact that he's making that much more money, and Ben Simmons is a guy who, like Mark said, has a lot of value around the league. To me, I think it's clear that of these two guys, even if it's going to take a while to move Ben Simmons, I think he's the one of these two guys that gets moved.
Mark, the question is, who can stand the pressure the longest when it comes to Ben Simmons, right? He wants a fresh start. They would like to rehabilitate his value a little bit. But if he doesn't show up to training camp on September 28th, what happens?
Yeah, I don't agree that his value needs to be rehabbed. I mean, a smart GM once told me that don't go too high or too low with which happens in the postseason. So I think there certainly is some respect for Ben Simmons, a multiple All-Star, and what he could do. But look, I mean, for Ben, I think he's made his decision up. He's working out of LA. He's doing two-a-days. I've heard he's mentally good. He's just waiting on them. So I think the thing that makes it difficult is that Philly's going to reach for pie in the sky, but at some point when the season starts and it gets irritating with the demand, or if they wait to the trade deadline, like the clock is ticking, and at some point they're going to have to step back and be more realistic about what they could get for Ben.
Tim, I think you know the Sixers probably. Tim knows the Sixers better than anybody, right? And the question is, how long can Daryl Morey wait? I mean, how long can the Sixers, if you're there and they start off the year 4-6, 5-5, what does Daryl Morey do?
Absolutely. And that would, to Mark's point, this is about what the Sixers want to do and how much they want to wait on making the right deal for Ben Simmons, as opposed to making the best deal they can make right now and moving on from this situation. And like we've talked about a bunch, to your point, Ramona, there's nobody more suited to being in an uncomfortable situation from an executive standpoint in the league than Daryl Morey. He's perfectly fine with letting this go into the season and waiting to get the best situation he could get for the Sixers going forward. Because look, as we've talked about, they've got Tobias Harris under contract. They've got Joel Embiid under contract. They're way over the salary cap. They're not going to be able to clear Ben Simmons' money out and go sign people in free agency. This is their chance to remain a championship-level team and add another big piece in moving on from Ben Simmons. They can't just make the first deal they can make. They've got to get the right deal for them, and that's what they're going to have to wait to see how good a deal they can get, weighed against how awkward this situation is going to be starting next Monday when Media Day comes, and Ben's probably not in Philly.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.